Yo, what is up, everybody? Interesting. Firestorm dropped kind of out of nowhere. Hello, Firestorm previews are here. I'm going to talk about only 4 cards today, specifically the ones shown off in the video. Hestia, Hermes, Champion of Hestia, Majersa, Carry-Off Champion of Hermes. Those 4 cards shown in the trailer. You can scour through the pre-order listing and find some more partial cards, etc. But I only want to talk about those 4 specifically because I think they have the most relevant things to talk about. And then the most important for what this set's showing off so far. So let's talk about starting with Hestia. So Hestia is a 1-cost fire divine rune. When you cast this Hestia, you can enchant up to 3 fire to it. You can disenchant 2 fire from this Hestia in order to special cast a 1-spirit fire Elestral from your hand with fire if an opponent controls the same number of Elestrals as you or more. So Hestia effectively gets you the ability to have a second normal cast, albeit it's a special cast, of a 1-drop into play. So this is something where you can either go, use Hestia, disenchant 2, cast a 1-drop, and then ascend into a 2-drop right away. So there's some ramping potential here. There's also the potential to go really wide on board, which we're going to get to when we talk about Majersa. But Hestia kind of fulfill 2 possible situations where you can either go really tall, really quick in fire now, or go really wide. So it kind of could help a Fire Nexus strategy, it could help a Fire Ascension strategy. Fire Ascension might be a little bit more viable because you can keep your total total Elestral count down to use Hestia turn over turn if you're ascending. Once you get super wide, you might not be able to trigger Hestia consistently. So I think there's a little bit more tall focus here, but swarming your board with a bunch of 1-drops can be pretty beneficial, especially in something like Kinleo with a Comagma or like Kinleo Ash Rabbit. There's a lot of stuff you can do when you swarm the board with 1-drops. Speaking of, let's talk about Majersa. So Majersa, Champion of Hestia, is an 8/13 for 3 fire. When you cast this Majersa, you can target and destroy cards up to the number of Ursa Elestrals on your field. Your Ursa Elestrals get 1 attack for each fire, enchanting each Hestia on the field. So this is something that you will want to go wide for. That is a 3-cost you might be thinking, why am I saying you want to go wide for? If you play something like Ursa Den with this card and Hestia, you go Hestia, special cast a 1-drop bear, normal cast a 1-drop bear, pop Den, play Majersa, destroy up to 3 cards on your opponent's board. And if they don't have a Gorgon's Gaze, they're SOL. Their board gets blown up effectively, right? Now that is a very expensive play. You're costing like 10, 11 spirits for that whole play. I don't feel like counting right now, but that is an expensive play, but it's something that can happen. You can plop a Majersa down, pop 3 cards because it counts itself. So with Hestia, it does like you to go pretty wide with fire stuff, and then drop a Majersa, pop a bunch of cards. So it looks like off of Majersa, at least with bears, you want to go wide, and then you can drop these giant bombs like Majersa into play. Other things you can do with Hestia, going back to Hestia again, is things like Smokey become more relevant. Smokey becomes more relevant. Smokey becomes more relevant. I don't think Smokey's, even with Hestia, that great. I know a lot of people are going to go immediately to Smokey with Hestia, but that's a 3-cost draw 2 that can ascend the turn you play it. And it's a 2-card combo, and Smokey's a dead card otherwise, so your mileage may vary there. But Hestia, Majersa's, bears, go wide, go tall, whatever you want to do in fire. It's really cool to see a fire rune that actually synergizes with fire because there's no artifact support for Hephaestus and fire. Yeah, so hey, Hestia is looking pretty cool and has some really cool synergies with cards already existing in fire, as well as looking to be new synergies with Majersa. So let's talk about Hermes.
Subscribe to words.
Subscribe to words.
Subscribe to words, bro.
Subscribe to Word.
Sub to words, by the way.
It's literally just us telling people to subscribe to words. No!
Alright, so Hermes, 1-cost wind divine rune. When you cast this Hermes, you can chant up to 3 wind to it, not 4 like Aeolus, specifically 3 wind, like every other divine rune. And you can disenchant 2 wind from this Hermes in order to search your deck for a wind Elestral and send it to the underworld. So you can basically just, for 2 spirits, instead of adding it to hand like you would with an Aeolus, send it to your underworld, and it could be a 1, 2, or 3-cost Celestial. It could be something like a full Gorix that only has 1 wind in it. As long as it has wind in it, you can send it to your underworld. Now that doesn't sound that great on its surface until we talk about carry-off, but let's talk about the surface level here. The surface level here is you could dump a big stupid 3-drop into your Underworld and reanimate it and make an 8-cost Reanimator deck with Hermes and Rise from the Ashes. That's not that great. It's doable for sure, but that's not that great. So what is Hermes actually trying to do? And the only way to tell you, or rather show you what Hermes is actually doing, is by showing you one of his champions, specifically Champion of Hermes Carryoff, which is an 8/2 for 1 Lunar, 1 Wind. You can shuffle an Elestral in your Underworld into your deck, whoop-de-doo. However, when this Carryoff is sent to the Underworld with Hermes effect, you can target an Elestral and expend spirits equal to the number of its enchanting spirits to destroy it. So that's what Hermes is doing. Hermes is toolboxing Elestrals into the Underworld for effects. Look at Carryoff. It's basically a New Moon style removal card. However, it's expensive, right? So if I want to go Hermes, pitch a Carryoff from deck, pop a 1-drop that costs 4 because you have 2 to search, 2 for Carryoff's effect, or 1 for Carryoff's effect, sorry. So it's equal to the 1 cost. So 3 spirits for that effect. If you want to do a 2-drop, it's 4. If you want to do a 3-drop, it's 5. So it can be pretty expensive, but it's a toolbox. So as long as Hermes is on the field doing other things, hey, you have the option of any time go and look through my deck, pull a Carryoff out, pop your card, which is significantly strong. That is pretty powerful. P-Box stocks go up. However, there are some problems on its surface when you think about that exact interaction. If you were playing Carryoff in your deck and you want the accessibility to run effectively Earthquake off a Divine Rune, you're playing Carryoff in your deck. You do not want to draw Carryoff. It is an 8/2 for 2 that has a mostly negligible effect, returning 1 Elestral from your Underworld to your deck. That is not that great. So you could brick on Carryoff. Now you could just put 1 in your deck, but now if you put 1 in your deck and you need it off of Hermes and that's your primary removal in your deck and you draw it, again you're in the situation of, well, Carryoff's now in my hand and I need to remove a dude. I don't want to run too many Carryoffs. So you have to balance how many Carryoff effects you're running versus how consistent you want it to be. Because if you do draw that one of, you just bricked your only removal potentially for the deck. So your mileage may vary, but that's going to make a very interesting deck building idea of like, you can include all these one-ofs like Wind likes to do with Aeolus already, but what are you doing with these one-ofs if you draw them, which is the opposite of Aeolus? It's like Aeolus, if you draw your 1-drop Wind that you wanted to search, well, you just go search something else. With Hermes, you draw the 1-of or the 2-ofs that you need for the situation. This is the Carryoff. You need removal and you draw your Carryoff and you only run 1. You're stuck with it. And playing it doesn't do much except it's an 8/2 on board, so it dies to a lot of things, specifically like Cryoblast, dies to shields. 8 stat is fine for getting over the majority of 2-drops, so at least it has that going for it, but you're not going to want to hard ascend a Carryoff over something that does do anything. So Carryoff looks crazy, but I think there's a lot of kind of little nuances that make it not as crazy as it might be as just being this crazy, easily accessible removal card off a Divine Rune that will be doing other things when you see other Champion of Hermes cards. So Hermes is really cool. It's going to have a lot of really cool things going for it. Carryoff is a card that a lot of people are correctly saying, I don't know, because yeah, it is a tough card to figure out because there's all this thing where it's expensive, but it's consistent, but you don't want to run a lot of it because you don't want to brick your hand with your draws, but then you also don't want to have it not in your deck for Hermes decks, and there's a lot of give and take here to take a look at. So overall, that is the Firestorm cards I want to talk about. Again, Hestia, really cool at going tall, really cool at going wide. 2 things that Fire likes to do between different combo strategies, between Blazers getting tall, so it's another way to get to Blazers out, Exalt Flare stuff, Fire Nexus stuff. Maybe Leonite is more playable. There's a lot of stuff that this kind of does now in Fire, with Majursa, Hestia, the Bears as well. Really cool stuff shown there. And then Hermes, it's kind of a see and sit and wait to see what he does. It plays with the win consistency toolbox aspect, but in a completely different way of Aeolus, which is really cool. And Carryoff is kind of signifying what Hermes is trying to do, But Carry Off is a little bit of a hard card to really figure out, and I think it's going to take a lot of experimenting with that card for people to really sort it out. But hey, really cool designs for Firestorm. Ta-da, Firestorm out of nowhere, and I'll see you guys next one. Just want to talk about those cards a little bit. So have a great one. Peace.